Welcome to FCBD Faces, episode 10, this time with the amazing Carolena Nericcio. If you like this upcoming video, please consider doing all the YouTube thingies and help our channel grow. Thank you so much.
Carolena Nericcio, the founder of Fat Chance Belly Dance, is a lover of pattern, repetition, simplicity and order. As an extroverted introvert, Carolina's clearly in her element on stage, but she also needs the time to shut her front door and be alone. She frequently states in online videos that she loves her alone time, but you can see she also enjoys visitors, which she invites virtually when she switches on her live feed for the ritual of her 4 o'clock chat and story time via Facebook. Today, I would like to get to know the woman behind the public persona a little better. So I invite the fascinating and enigmatic Mama C to come out from behind her metaphorical front door here and to give us all a dose of her sage advice and wisdom and experience. Carolena, thank you again for agreeing to sit with me, and it's a pleasure to have you here today.
So thank you very much for agreeing to meet with me here today. For anybody who hasn't heard of Fat Chance before, can you just explain a little bit about yourself and how would you describe what Fat Chance is and how you created it?
Thank you, Julia, for having me for an interview. That's the elevator pitch question that they say you should be prepared to say in 20 or 30 seconds, and I don't know how to answer it. I feel it's so much inside me that I don't really know how to address it externally. But Fat Chance is my dance company that I formed in the late 1980s, and originally just started teaching a dance class. It was fun, but then all of a sudden it was as if something was trying to emerge from just a dance class. And I started watching the dancers dancing in the studio and realized that there was communication, nonverbal communication happening with body angles, and the body angles and the cues were translated from the lead dancer to the follow dancer, or I suppose one dancer to another dancer, because we didn't know that there was a lead and a follow until these things started to emerge. So it's an improvisational dance form for a group of dancers, and that's like the technical issue, but the essence of what it is communication and beautiful women recognizing their beauty and dancing together. So I think there's two sides to it. There's the technical side of what is it, and then there's the more the spiritual or aesthetic side of what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. When you look back over the years, because obviously this has evolved over a very long time, which memories have stood out for you over those times, over the years?
Well, they're all memories. There's one memory that stands out. And I was living at a house on Texas Street in San Francisco, and one of the dancers and I had just gotten back to I think she was staying with me at the house, and we just got back to the house. We pulled into the garage, which, just for anybody needs to know, having a garage in San Francisco is the bomb. So that was amazing. So we pulled into the garage, and I remember saying to her, "We're creating history." Mm-hmm. And that was probably just the early 90s, but like I could tell that nothing like this had happened before, and that's one of the strongest memories. Yeah,
that's amazing. So I'd like to go a little bit deeper, as I said in the intro, and in past publications it has been written that you have MS, you've got health issues. Has the dance helped you? Like, can anybody dance this? Has it helped you? Has it helped you mentally? Especially now we've got mental health and physical health being seen as like really important, both of them. How has this helped your health over the years?
That's a good question. I do think that anybody can enjoy the dance. You know, I think everything happens in the studio. I think everything that I need happened in the studio, in the classroom. Getting onto stage is just a way to show the world to come into the studio. So I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in the early 90s, and I was frustrated because at that point it was just, this is what's going to happen, or this is what you have, we don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, that doesn't work. I'm a Capricorn, so I was like, that's not going to work. So the dance is a gentle, physical, consistent movement. So I'm sure that it kept my parts moving. At the same time, I was working out at a gym, and I really enjoyed weight training. So I think all of those things together helped. I found a really great book called The Multiple Sclerosis Diet book that sort of put me on a path of healing. And at this point, I don't have MS. The doctors are like, you're fine.
That's amazing.
But supposedly you can't get rid of the lesions, but an Ayurvedic doctor said that you can. So I don't know, I feel great. But in terms of the mental health issues, when I was in my 20s, before I started the dance, I fell into a really deep depression, and I don't know why. It was before there was diagnosis. It was before, well, not before there was diagnosis, but before they had lots of medications that they could sell you for treating it. So there was no treatment. And I was studying weaving at San Francisco State, and just realized that I had to have a loom. So the fabulous complication of a floor loom, of setting it up and threading it properly, and then weaving, really helped to sort of like get my brain out of this loop of despair that I was in. Because when you're weaving, you're always going forward. You weave, and then you roll your fabric up, and you just keep going. And there was something about this like never-ending pathway forward that really helped me. And then at the same time, the dance, I really feel like the dance found me. Do you know what I mean? Like right when I needed it. So again, the repetitive nature of the dance and the complication of all the parts of the dance really sort of popped my brain out of that despair. And so in a roundabout way, yes. You know, I mean, it's complicated, yeah.
It is, yeah. I completely understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Something else that this dance has done for me personally is it's helped me with body positivity. From being much smaller in my younger years, having a completely different body shape now. And you've been quite vocal as well about having body image issues and having issues in the past with eating. How has the dance helped you, and how would you advise us as dancers, you know, the women that are looking to you, how would you advise us to be more compassionate with ourselves and to, do you know what I mean? How would you advise us to work with this?
I do, and that's a really good question, because I think what I would say to anybody who's struggling with body issues is don't do what I did. Because basically being in the public eye caused me to want to be thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. And which was compounded with being put on a diet when I was a child and being told not like my parents didn't deny me food, you know, but the message was don't eat anything. And as a Capricorn, I was like, okay, I will not eat anything at all. So I trained myself not to eat. And I did, at a certain point achieve the thinness that I wanted, except I still thought I was fat. So there's this thing going on in your head, like that you can go down a little bit lower and a little bit lower and a little bit lower. So I think that has definitely damaged things. So at this point, when I crossed the menopause barrier, my body just said, this is me. And at first I was alarmed, as any anorexic would be when your body just gets big. And then I thought, this is actually my body. This is the body that was trying to fight that starvation that was happening. And now I love it. I'm quite excited by it. When I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, good. Do you know what I mean? Versus before, I was like, you can be a little bit less, just be a little bit less, be a little bit less. So I understand if anybody's suffering with body positivity, and it's a journey that it's your own individual journey. And I don't think anybody can tell you how to walk that path, because the whole time that I thought I was too fat, everybody was saying, honey, you're not fat, you're very thin. And I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, does that adamant, no, I have to do it this way. So it's a demon, and you have to fight it, and you really have to fight it. And like for me, I just had to sort of counsel myself, this is your body. Your body is beautiful. All bodies are beautiful. They fall into different profiles, but they're all beautiful bodies. And I've always looked at all bodies, male and female, and thought they're all beautiful, and yet I couldn't say that to myself. My body would only be beautiful if the number on the scale said that, And I know that a lot of people go through that, so I say, fight the demon.
Well, you're amazing.
Thank you. Quite delighted with it. I'm thrilled that I'm delighted with my big fat body. It's great. That's just, it's like a journey. It's like this whole new world. If I can eat whatever I want, I can exercise whenever I want, I can sleep whenever I want, and this is the body that's kept me alive all this time. So to be really grateful for it. So it's a new world.
I just want a role model. It's just amazing.
But that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Is I don't know if anybody knew I was starving myself back in the day, but like as my body got bigger and bigger and bigger after menopause, I thought I have to be able to address this in a positive way to my community.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can't be a person who says, well, now that I've passed menopause, I'm old and I'm fat and I'm unlovable and I'm ugly and nobody likes me. Like I can't do that. Like that would be the connection. It's not, the dance is one thing, but the dance community is another thing. So realizing that I was going to have to, address the camera and address people, and there was no way that I was going to let extra weight come between me and the success of our community. So.
Well, I think it's only like 4% of women that are actually like sort of this tall, thin kind of,
Yeah.
And we're all trying to fit into that mold. And then when you see people on stage that are only looking a certain way, you're like, can I do that dance? Can I?
Yeah.
And when we have a role model like you, that you are still dancing like in your lovely, amazing body, other people are looking at it saying, okay, I can.
Yeah.
I can. And I think that's really great.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And that it's also multi-generational. You don't have to be young either.
That's also true. Keep your heart open, keep your mind open, and just have a snack.
A salty snack just for Lacey.
Yeah.
I'm putting that one in.
Salty snacks for sure.
I see fat chance as being kind of part of this feminist movement. You know, in that it brings women together in a very strong way and puts us all together in a very equal way. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I ever defined myself as feminist or the dance as feminist until I learned what feminist was. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. So it's powerful, and it's feminine and powerful, and the two are not mutually exclusive.
And it's not excluding men either. It's just saying, you know, women are equal and we also have strength and power.
Yes. And I think the dance is a wonderful juxtaposition to the narrow view that all feminists are angry and unattractive and unhappy. You know, that's not true. You know, the dance is beautiful and it's feminine and it's alluring and it's sensual and it's still under my control. So it's not pandering to that male gaze. It's just taking up space. Yeah.
Well, this is where the name actually came from, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fat chance, you can have a private show. Exactly.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, with this dance form, like I've noticed a lot of dance in the past is very spiritually connected. Like you see a lot of temple dancers with Indian dancers, it's spiritually connected. And I feel it's similar with this dance, almost like yoga, in that you can go to a dance class and you can just do the movements, you can have your gentle movement. But there is another side to this, kind of like yoga. How do you see that? Is this a spiritual thing for you as well?
Again, yes, it is, and it's not a prescribed spirituality. Yeah, blanket spirituality for everyone. I think that people find their own way of healing through the dance, and to me, I feel like I was just a person, just sort of metaphorically walking down the street, and the dance said stop, and I was like, yes. And the dance said, I need you to create this pathway to get me out into the world. And I was like, me? And the dance was like, you. And I was like, when? Now. You know, wow, okay. So, and then it just emerged. So there's definitely a sense of there's a spirit to it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. And just the beauty of it is intoxicating, and I'm a craftsperson, so I'm drawn to beauty, and the fact that the dance is like consistent, it's beautiful, it's just always beautiful. And now I've lost the plot. There was something else I was going to say. It's beautiful, spiritual. Oh shoot.
It's all good.
It'll pop back in.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
inspired you then? What inspired you? Like, you said you were just walking down the street, and like, when you are a creative person. Everything you do is around pattern and like I said, the sewing, the knitting, the movements. Like, we all know your stance on dialect. You want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
And is this how you tick? You like to have like, this is how it is, this is how we do it, and then you actually get a stronger connection, a stronger flow, a stronger. Do you know what I mean?
So what was the original question?
What inspires you?
What inspires me? Beauty.
Yeah.
Beauty. And I see beauty in everything. So I don't go looking for inspiration. I just find it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And then I move from there. So like I was saying, metaphorically, I was walking down the street, but in reality, in the studio, teaching this very basic dance class, I started to see this communication emerging, and the sort of like following that pathway inspired me. And as you said, repetition. I like repetition. I like to do the same thing over and over again. I one more time. Let's do it one more time. Let's do it one more time. So just being able to like find this, like there's a nugget of something happening, and let's figure out like what that is. So it's inspiration finds me. I don't really go looking for it.
I think you're walking creation. It's awesome. That's just my thought. Just to lighten it up a little bit, I'd like to ask you about your costuming. Did you have a favourite costume ever? And did you ever have a costume that malfunctioned on stage?
Did I have a favorite costume ever? It's the same costume that I've been wearing for 45 years, right? So it's a choli, it's a point bra, it's pantaloons, it's a skirt, and it's a shawl with a headdress and a lot of jewelry. That is my favorite costume. That's the one that I've worn my entire career. And I don't believe anything ever malfunctioned because it's all pretty sturdy. You know, when we get into those costumes, we're planning for, vibration, movement, and we're planning for laybacks and spins, and maybe, sword or basket balancing might need a more specialized headdress. But basically the dance costume itself is bolted on there pretty tight and it doesn't just let loose. So
this is why you sew things and I don't.
Yeah.
Like, do you actually approach your costumes with that in mind?
Yeah.
What the function it's going to have?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The costume sort of evolved from what I was wearing when I was studying with my teacher, and then the evolution of, dancing gigs in San Francisco, and then traveling with the costume and all of those bits. But it's difficult to create a different costume because it has to meet that standard of, can you spin, can you do a layback, can you vibrate the body without the costume, falling apart. And the reality of performing, should anybody want to know it, is you spend 2 hours getting into a costume, you travel for half an hour to get to the venue, you look for parking for 20 minutes, you sit backstage for 2 hours so that you can perform for 3 minutes. So it has to be relatively comfortable. You know what I mean? It's like when you see theatrical costumes or music video costumes up close, there's tons of structure in them. You know what I mean? They're not in those costumes for 7 hours. Or maybe they are, and they're heroes. But I feel like, this like corset structure that's part of a lot of costumes is not part of our costume. Mm-hmm. So it needs to be sturdy and beautiful and somewhat comfortable. That's not entirely comfortable, but that's what you sort of suffer from beauty, I suppose.
started? How do you see it evolving in the future?
Well, it continues to evolve because of the community. You know, people love to dance and they keep doing it, and it goes further and it goes further and further. So like at a certain point, I realized that I needed to take my hands off of the dance. My studio closed in 2016 because rent in San Francisco is astounding, but also because the cost of living in San Francisco had become so high that a huge migration of creative people took all my customers away. You know, that where I used to have 30 people in a class, now I had 7. You know, and I thought I was doing something wrong, and it wasn't until some friends of mine counseled me that I realized, like, oh no, I'm not doing anything wrong, but this studio can no longer support the small amount of students that we had. I actually spoke to the dance. I speak to the dance frequently. And I said, I think I need to stop controlling this dance form. I think I need to pull back and take some time that I need, because I had just been like in the dance like this for 35 years. And I think I need to pull back, and I think I need to see how the community wants to move it forward. And the dance said, yes, absolutely. That's exactly what needs to happen. So gratefully, I relinquished the studio and relinquished control, and have not relinquished my interest or my enthusiasm. But I realized that if I was going to control this dance form, I would never, ever be able to let go of it. And then when I died, it would die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want it to grow after I'm gone. And, you know, I've been very clear about my retirement. I consider myself 3/4 retired. And I remember a friend of mine said, well, when you retire. And I was like, I'm never going to retire. You know, though I always have, you know, a foot in the game. But I've definitely pulled back because I want people to come forward, you know. But I do, the part of me, as you said earlier, the part of me that wants to stay in the game is, I'm still the goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get out of line. Come back inside. You know, don't, you know, definitely, you know, be creative and enjoy yourself, but don't, you know, turn it into something totally different. It needs to remain the beautiful thing that it was at its inception. And I think we should move around it, but we shouldn't attempt to pull it too far apart, and we shouldn't attempt to bring too many new things into it, because we haven't explored all the angles that we have with the simplicity of it. So keep it simple and enjoy it.
Well, I absolutely love it. And for new people coming into this, what would your tips be for them? What tips be for beginners?
My tips be for beginners. Well, practice. You know, practice. And like, learn to love practicing. It's not about achieving the next goal. You know, level 1 is as important for a professional dancer as it is for a level 1 dancer. So, you know, be willing to just look at the basics again and again and again, and find the beauty in it, and the simplicity of it, and just like let it, you know, let the dance into your body so that you can relax. And it's almost like a moving meditation. So come to class, respect your teacher, be nice to everybody else, and enjoy.
That's awesome. So looking into the future, what are your next goals? What is it that Carolena Nericcio is going to be doing in the future?
Well, I would would like to sort of sit back and watch the dance evolve. I like to see what's going on. I'm happy to see so many people taking and directing different parts of it. Personally, I sew clothing now, and I'm really enjoying looking at, whereas, you know, the dance costume is very body, because of all the movement that we just previously talked about, the costume has to fit very snugly, and I'm exploring big, loose, wonderful linen tunics. So that's really where I'm gonna go, is into my linen tunic world, and you can join me. But I enjoy, you know, I'm enjoying stepping back and watching the dance. Yeah. So.
Well, this is the amazing Carolena Nericcio. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So
Julia.
grateful.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for our next videos.